How is food important to our culture? Does it affect how we live? What determines the types of food and drink we consume? All of that and more in this episode of World of Culture. But Gavin, food is just something we need to survive. How can it be important to our culture? Good question, viewer I made up. And to put it simply, survival is one of the main building blocks to a culture. For a better understanding of what culture is, I suggest you watch What is Culture, the first video in this series. You can find it in the description after you've finished this video. Food is one of the three main things a person needs for survival, and there is a lot of variety when it comes to it. Like in warm tropical areas, such as India, where there's a wider variety of fruits, vegetables, and spices that can be grown. In addition to climate, the shape of the land also determines the types of available foods, such as Eastern Europe, where land is mostly flat plains, great for raising livestock and growing wheat and other grains. Food is so significant to a culture because in the days before refrigerators, you mostly ate food that you could get in your area. With this, preservation was much more diverse back then, with methods like pickling, salting, or even the classic cellar. The main reasons spices were so valuable historically were to cover up the taste of poorly preserved food. If they couldn't afford spices, sauces were often the next best thing. After all that diversity in food, you'd think cooking is just as diverse, but no, it's actually a pretty universal thing. It's really only used to get rid of dangerous bacteria and to make the food taste better. And there are really only three methods of cooking: baking, frying, and boiling, all of which have their own advantages and disadvantages. Now, we can't talk about food without talking about the thing that often goes with it: water. Unlike food, it doesn't really have too much variety on its own. However, where the water comes from does heavily change its taste, like when water comes from fruit, otherwise known as juice. Juice is popular around the world for how refreshing it is, and it comes in a variety of flavors, but is mostly just the flavor of the fruit that it originated from. However, people mostly drink fermented beverages, often referred to as alcohol. It was often drunk since it was generally cleaner than most of the water. How can we talk about food without talking about spices? Historically, they've been one of the most invaluable things for food, but nowadays you can get them mostly in a glass or plastic container to shake over your food, but it was way more expensive before industrialization. Most spices were grown in places that are tropical, like Indochina or South America, and that still holds true to this day. Before the Industrial Revolution, spices were considered to be a luxury good, far more valuable than even gold. Now, you might think I'm exaggerating, but entire wars were fought for control of the spice trade. Heck, the spice trade was one of the main factors in inspiring European colonialism. Then the Industrial Revolution happened and made everything cheaper. Thank you for joining me on this tour of how food culture is so diverse around the world. If you liked this video, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to this channel for more content like this. Don't forget to hit that notification bell to get notified when every World of Culture video is uploaded. My name is Gavin, and this is World of Culture.